Hello, SNA Assassinators. This is Super Ninja Austin back here with another video. And this is the SNA podcast of the Monday Night Raw review video on April the 7th, 2025 for y'all today. And Monday Night Raw just keep getting more and more interesting, especially on this season of on the road to WrestleMania 41. We got some development of the reaction of main event Jay Uso letting Gunther have it. Well, not physically, but mentally and by his own words. And we got a world tag team championship match. Like, even though it's kind of a cliffhanger for possibly a rematch for WrestleMania 41, and we got a pretty has some pretty good other matches on the card, like Penta versus Dirty Dominic Mysterio. Even though I think they fought before, but this time it just continued to get more and more better, like with this feud going on, and with see what could be the possibilities at WrestleMania. Even though at the end, like of the post match, like was very confusing, which I think they did it in the good way. But anyways, yeah, we also got some pretty good tag team matches, especially with this El Americano dude. Let me tell you, if this really isn't Chad Gable in the mask, I'll tell you this guy is so genius and brilliant. I would say in the way, like, but I'll say if it is Chad Gable, I'll say the same. But anyways, we also got some interesting closer like on of the show, like when the show goes off the air, it still was on its like 2 hour and 30 minute mark. I'm gonna tell you that, but this is where we got everybody was coming to the building, like the Judgment Day, Penta, Gunther, main event Jay Uso, Paul Heyman, and who else? Like, this is where then he pull out his phone, which it was like a red phone case, which he was calling somebody. I'm not sure if it was CM Punk or Roman Reigns, but it does earlier. I mean, later on is going to tie into him expressing like what his thoughts on until like something interrupts him, which I'm not going to get into more details. You don't have to. I have to find out about that. But yeah, we got so much to talk about today, and we also got a pretty intriguing mid card championship match. Even though, like, it was kind of obvious and predictable who's going to walk out as the women's Intercontinental Champion. But still, it was very interesting. I was like, as long as it's not at WrestleMania, it's already bad enough. They kind of canceled a future showdown at the Showcase of the Immortals between Roxanne and between Roxanne and Bailey, because they said they think it was not too much of a high stakes of a Mania caliber match, given that Roxanne Perez is still on NXT until probably after Mania. But yeah, well, let's get started. And also one more thing. Like, this is gonna be the starter of the show. Like, let's just say we will be getting our wish of the Women's World Championship match, which they showed a recap on what happened last week. Like, with Rhea Ripley and Io Sky keep attacking her until like they call it a DQ, and then this is where it ends up with everybody involved to start beating the hell out of each other into a brawling twister with Rhea Ripley hitting Riptide, ending the segment by hitting riptides on both what's name onto both Bianca and Io Sky. Oh yeah, Monday Night Raw was pretty great. It was very, very entertaining. Yeah, just like I just said at the beginning of the video. Thank you so much for asking for the concerns. And yeah, and hopefully you had a chance to watch Monday Night Raw too. Like, yeah, you would have enjoyed it. Like, in case if you're a general WWE fan, of course that is. But yeah, but this is where we got the Alicia Taylor introduced the Raw general manager, which is Adam Pearce, of course. That came out like this, where then he had the big cojones, enough to call out all three of the women. Hopefully, that didn't sound inappropriate when I say that, but yeah, this is where then he made the announcement. Like, since that this is not going to end very well. Like, if I don't make this announcement, and then this is where he did confirm that it will be a triple threat match for the Women's World Championship. We were all excited, like, yes, like we were going to get to see this three-way dream match. Well, I'll say in the modern day, of course, that is like what matches you should be doing at WrestleMania. But like, yeah, this is where we got this announcement by the GM himself. That's where then he's like, yeah, Io Sky will indeed defend the title with Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley and in a triple threat. And then this, you all fine. Yeah, thank you so much about that for the concerns. But anyway, this is where we got Bianca Belair going on the microphone. This is where Bianca Belair was still not convinced. Say at least not at this time, because she was like, hold on, wait a second, like this is what really pisses me off. Like I was on my way to WrestleMania, like, and I would have been doing so, like if it wasn't for Rhea Ripley trying to hinder. But it's where it's like, you know, and then like first thing I was gonna be at WrestleMania against either EO and Ripley, and when it turns out it was gonna be EO when she won the Women's World Championship, it was like. This was like, and then and when Rhea Ripley tried to get herself back in the title picture, like you, Adam Pearce, was trying to circulate the situation, telling her that's not how it works here. Like, but you end up but you end up getting her opportunity to win back her title. But when that didn't, but then to make matters worse, you add me into the mix, like the winner of the women's elimination chamber #1 contenders match for the women's world championship to be the special guest referee. But when that didn't work out, like then you just give up and have triple. That's where the Bianca was like. But then again, like this is where like now, like come to think of it, when you won't leave me alone, like I'm happy that you just got added to the match because, like this what then she was like that's fine because like I will overcome you because if I can overcome you guys before and overcome a elimination chamber, like how in the hell I cannot overcome you in a triple threat, like just a simple triple threat title match. And this is where fans are chanting Rhea, like if she's a baby, well, she is a baby, but Bianca's also a baby, and same with Io Scott. It's kind of like a Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and CM Punk kind of situation, which I think this should open night 1 or night 2, depending on what night it's gonna be. This title match is gonna be. I heard it's gonna be on night 2, so maybe this should be the opener of night 2, yeah. Which is kind of like a main event where like do the next best thing, open the show, like if it's the most important match of the night, which it is, like this maybe the second most perfect match. This is where I'm gonna walk out of WrestleMania and I'm gonna go through you to get it. This is where she pointed at Ripley. And this is where fans start booing like she's a heel. Maybe that's the plan. They're just trying to make. They're just trying to what's that trying to build that into like a future feud down the road, and then like when one of them is the women's world champion, maybe we can see them feud. But with Rhea is the baby face. But anyway, this is where Bianca Belair got the contract. This is where she signed her. They did the redo of the contract signing segment while this announcement was going on. Yeah. Like to fix everything and make it official, an actual official with Adam Pearce, like making it so. There's a real ribs like you really think I'm scared of you, Bianca? And Bianca's like, like shut up and like this word just was like, just sign the damn contract. You got what you wanted. Like now, just do what you need to do in order to make this happen. This is what Bianca was like. You know what? I actually want you in the match now. Now that you're getting on my last nerves, this is where Rhea Ripley's like, fine with me. And this is where she signed the contract, like making it like. Making this confirmed that it will indeed be a triple threat match, which we all knew that was going to happen in advance, like because they wouldn't stop fighting each other in this three-way situation. Well, with Io Sky being the middle woman here in this rivalry, and even Michael Cole even pointed that out, saying like I just don't understand like why is Io Sky being treated like if she's the third wheel, even though she's the champion. Which he makes a good ass point when he says that. Excuse my language, but yeah, like he's right on that. Like for one thing, like yeah, like Io Sky, if anybody should be looking important, it should definitely be the champion, which is Io's position. But it's where then we got Io Sky was trying to fuse this argument in this damn near physicality that they're about to do, and yeah. All right, but anyways, this is where we got what's her name? Io Scott and goes for try to fuse the situation before Adam could do. This is where then she ends up getting pushed right in the face by Rhea Ripley. This is where then she didn't take as an answer. This is where Io Scott, I'm getting sick of being a nice woman, which yeah, who could blame her? So I'm she walked out. This is where Adam Pearce to try to break things up. This is where then Adam Pearce like, wait, Io. This is where Io's like, no, like I'm done. Like this is where she walks out. This is where Adam Pearce is like, hey ladies, when Bianca and Rhea Ripley was arguing with each other, like about their throats. This is where Rhea Ripley started taunting herself. Like, if you want to give me your best shot, go ahead and do it. And this is where she pucker up her left cheek to have Bianca Belair hit a right hand into it. But that's where before she can even do that, that's where Io Sky ends up getting back to her, hits a double springboard missile dropkick on both women, doing a kip up right up. And this is where Io Sky then signed her contract. She's like, oh, I forgot to sign my signature on there to make it official. This is where Adam Pearce is like, yeah, thank you, Adam. This is where Io Sky, yeah, like you're welcome. Like, and yeah, like, and I'll see these two losers at WrestleMania, which, yeah, that will probably be the likely place, if not next week's Monday Night Raw, because it will be the go-home show before WrestleMania, like, yeah, which is like a week from this coming weekend. But, yeah, who do you think is going to walk out as the Women's World Champion? Let me know down in the comment section right down below about that. But this is where we got another announcement by Adam Pearce that another championship will be on WrestleMania, and that is the Intercontinental Championship, which is the four-way match between Finn Balor, what's his name, Dirty Dominic Mysterio, and Penta. Will be challenging Braun Breaker for his Intercontinental Championship. And this is where we got Finn Balor was pretending that he was excited that his teammate Dirty Dominic Mysterio got an opportunity for the championship just like he did. But this is where then we Liv and Raquel was also being excited about Dom. This is where Finn Balor, like, you get another shot, like that's like this. This is double awesome. Like I said earlier. Like it's like I said earlier, like I did not know that you even wanted a title shot. Like you never asked. And this is where he's like, but and this is where he's like, I guess it's more the more the merrier, like the old saying goes. Well, like that's what he thought he was. That was the situation, of course. But anyways, it's where we got Liv Morgan. Like that's why, because what's better than one member of the Judgment Day fight for that Intercontinental Championship, and on the grandest of them all, when it could be two? And then this is where she was holding on to these two little llamas or camel stuffed animals, which I couldn't tell, like because they were just like little generic stuffed animals. But that's where Liv Morgan is like, yeah, like we're gonna bring the Intercontinental Championship right into the clubhouse. This was like, no matter which one of you, like, what she was kind of add some teasing fuel to the fire, because she started. So it looked like she's trying to provoke Finn Balor when every time she's always saying it while looking at each other, looking at both Dirty Dominic and Finn Balor that was looking across from each other. And this is where he's like, because it doesn't matter who it is as long as they bring it home to the Judgment Day. And this is where the Finn Balor's like, yeah, that's right. Like I don't care what people say about that. Like, because it's kind of, you don't have what it takes to win at WrestleMania. But they claim they're not tough enough. Like, well, let me tell before he gave him some supportable words, which I'm not sure if they're very serious and sincere, but this is where then he was like yeah, like they can say you're not the toughest or the strongest or the like that you claim you're a loser. Like I was like, yeah, he kind of is with this kid. He's like, but tonight you can prove them all wrong for showing the preview, like what we're gonna be doing at the Showcase of the Immortals. I'm like, what y'all like what? What are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about, Finn Balor? Like, do you realize, like either way, like even if y'all do work together, like at the end of the match, like you're gonna have to find out who's gonna be pinning the champion for the Intercontinental Championship and who's gonna bring it home. Even though y'all do say it doesn't matter, but y'all have to rock paper scissors or do some kind of a debatable decision on who's gonna do the honor. But anyways, this is where we got Finn Balor's like, you're gonna do a preview, like what is that gonna do? And he's like, and you're gonna do that by proving that you could be Penta tonight, which we're gonna get into that in just a moment. But that's like a pretty interesting match. Like I'll say, I'll give it about the Bronze Trophy tonight because we got a couple more. And this is where Dirty Dominic wished him up. This is where. And this way, then he told him like what place he went to in Minnesota, like which is the biggest place of the United States, which I totally forgot. It's where then they all both Liv Morgan and Raquel and Dirty Dominic stared at him like, what is he talking about? And like when he said that, it's where Liv, especially Raquel Rodriguez, which she already thinks he's a creep as it is. Like that just made it more worse when he said that, like which. What you what do you mean by saying it? But let's move on to the next slide. But yeah, this is where we got the women's intercontinental championship was on the line, which it was Lyra Valkyria and Million Dollar Bailey. And let me tell you, Bailey's is unfortunately not quite there of becoming just a championship away from being a what's it called, a Grand Slam champion. But this is where then we got the match happened, and don't get me wrong, this match was the epitome of women's excellence and success in WWE because like they their women's division is continuing to elevate for the better, like everything in the men's division. The only thing they're missing is a women's world tag team championships like the men's do. Like they have two separate tag team belts, which they also showed like the men's tag team division is on the Raw brands finally getting to the to the path that it needs to be. But yeah, and that's where I was saying, like, even though they were not in San Francisco, I was thinking how come George Ketty Chips did not join tonight's broadcast on Monday Night Raw like a couple months ago? And also, even though we all know he's gonna be in attendance in Las Vegas, which is the same place he lost to those back-to-back Super Bowl Chiefs, by the way, back a year ago. But that's a different video for a different day. But yeah, he's gonna be in attendance there, and he's gonna be watching maybe his $1 Million Bailey compete in the match, and others that's gonna fight at WrestleMania in Las Vegas. But anyways, this and Michael Cole pointed out the last time Bailey won a singles match was all the way back from February, like 2 months ago. I was like, what? It's been 2 months since she fought Lyra Valkyria, and that's the last time she actually won the match. Like, wow! And that's when that Ketty Chips guy was there, in attendance, of all places. And I'll say, and some of y'all was super, probably I bet y'all probably saying but Super Ninja Austin, how did you know that? How did you remember that? Which I'll say two particular memorable reasons I remember that. But I'm not gonna get into one of those. I'll say one is very particularly because Ketty Chips was there. But anyway, this is where we got Lyra Valkyria goes for the wrist locks with Bailey trying to go for do some of their own. But this is where this ends up turning into Bailey going for a headlock, but she ends up getting thrown to the right corner side by Lyra Valkyria. Goes for a sliding duck. Then the leapfrog when she was coming for the left side. This is where she tried to go for this little wheelbarrow flip, but going right back first on the ground. But Bailey hangs onto the ropes. Probably smart move, but it's where she goes for a schoolgirl, which unfortunately only got her a 2.7 count. Yeah, this is where then we got both Lyra and Bailey start doing a little quick stare down and then spinning around. Where we're gonna go for a grappling war until we got Lyra Valkyria go for back to belly lock. Belly maneuver. This is where we got Lyra Valkyria push her right to the left side. Then she she trips her over. She gotta go for a headlock, but Bailey counter into some kind of a arm twisting to her leg with Lyra's arm right into her legs, go for a roll up. But this is where Lyra Valkyria went to try to go for her own. But this is where it ends up backfiring with Bailey trying to go for a pin, but she only got a 2.2 count. Then we got the former multi-time women's champion was I almost got you close. This is where then the Lyra Valkyria then responded back not close enough because it was only 2+2. This is where they start going for a kick. This is where Lyra Valkyria nice try to go for a kick, but she ends up getting knee right into her face. I was like, gee, I wonder where she got from, but maybe from a friend. Well, I'm not sure if I should mention this friend by name. I have my suspicions on, but it's where we got. This is where we got Bailey then try to grab Lyra Valkyria, but this is where Valkyria hit her with a European uppercut. This is where Bailey started hitting some forearm strikes, but this is where we got Lyra Valkyria go for a roundhouse kick up in the air, and then go for a trip right onto the former multi-time women's champion, which has been statistically pointed out that she's the 4-time women's champion on the main roster and a former 2-time women's tag team champion and the former NXT women's champion, Money in the Bank briefcase holder. Well, I'll say if you add the NXT women's champion, that's a 5-time women's champion overall in WWE. But this is where then we got Lyra Valkyria try to go for hip suplex, but only get it denied by a count of 2.1. This is where she gets thrown right to the bottom right corner side. This is where we got Lyra Valkyria goes for a cartwheel. This is where we got Lyra Valkyria then try to go for what they call This is where they try to go for what they call a reverse Boston crab, but this is where she then turned into like a Irish swing because she started grabbing onto the arms of Lyra Valkyria. It sounds like Irish spring, but it's where Pat McAfee geniusly said and described it as an Irish swing. Like I was like, gee, is that what those swinging chairs in the playground are? Like they're Irish swings, which I was like that makes sense. Like why Lyra Valkyria did this right here. And this is where then and this is where we got Pat McAfee. I'm surprised that Bailey's still moving after getting stretched and twisted like that. And this is where we got Bailey then finally got back up, which I don't know how that she did easily, like right after she was getting stretched and pulled back. This is where we got Lyra Valkyria start getting hit forearms by Bailey. This is where then Bailey tried to throw Lyra Valkyria right into the from the right side to the left side until she counters to her instead. This is where she goes for a slide duck. This is where then she tries to go for a roundhouse kick when she comes from the right side. Bailey dodges out of the way smartly, and this is where she goes for a spear. This is where we got Lyra Valkyria also smartly dodges out of the way. And a baseball sliding kick right into the midsection. This is where the Lyra Valkyria and throws her back in the ring. This is where we got the Valkyrie then wins up right up on the top rope after throwing Bailey right from the right side. And we got the you got the former NXT Women's Champion, current Women's Intercontinental Champion, go for a crossbody. This is where they only got her like a 2 point, what was it, 4 count. This is where we got the partial powerful force and all of pro wrestling came on right in the middle of this, which I don't know how that was possible because given that it was only just given that it was only like about like given it was only like just like how many. Yeah, I don't know how that was possible, but it's where then like, yeah, yeah, I know he does. Like, and he loves all of us. Yeah, thank you so much for that very positive message. But anyway, this is where we got. But once we got done with the adverts, this is where then Bailey was running from the top corner side. This is where she hit the suicide dive. But this is where she hit shoulder first, and you know how bad that she has with when it comes to shoulder injuries, like in a track record for almost a decade's worth. This is where Valkyria tried to go over a baseball slide kick, but I don't know how Bailey caught her and hit her with a Bailey to belt back first right into the outside of the ring. This is where we got this is where then this is where Lyra Valkyria looked like if she just like this killed her, like when she hit her back first, looking like that she's nothing but lifeless after hitting like boom, like she sold out like a champ, like which she is a champ, but you did it like a queen as well. But it's where that's where then that's where both Bailey and Lyra Valkyria beat the count. Like once roughly was at the count of 9, which they got in like at the count of 9.2. That's where then we got. This is where then Michael Cole they barely just went just beat it like yeah. But this is where then both Bailey and Lyra was looking right at each other when they were belly first, like right into the canvas. No pun intended. I actually, but this is where did you hit Bailey with a night wing, which I'm surprised Bailey kicked out at 2.3. This is where Lyra was like, "Are you kidding me? Like how?" And this is where then Lyra then and they was like, oh, "Okay, like since that did not work, like okay, like how about I can see if I can hit the." Hit her with the fireman's version of the Nightwing, but this is where Bailey counter hits a running knee, and this is where she hit her so hard you would have thought her jaw was broken when Bailey kneed her. You could hear the snap. Then when Michael Cole was like, "How is she's functioning like after this near fall?" Like which Pat McAfee then responded back like with a very I'll say logical explanation like of a theory, like saying that she has uh iron jaws like for taking such hits. Like this is where we got like that explains why, because like if it was a normal person, Bailey would have easily broke their jaw. And then this is where Bailey did try to go for a suplex, but this is where we got what's her name? Lyra Valkyria, like sunset flip duck right into the like this is where he tried to go for a powerbomb, but only for Lyra's back good give out. This is where Bailey hits the sunset flip, like run away right into the upper left side, hits him back first right onto the barricade. This is where her head and That's where her head and back of her head and her back was in a very probably mind graining situation of pain because she started grabbing on her back and her head like which I was like like this is why like Nicholas the Ridiculous said this past Friday. They say don't try this at home for a good reason. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like when I was a kid, like wrestling with my brother, like for fun, like we always imitate what goes on what WWE does. Like which which it never gets old. But this is where we got. But anyways, back to the review. This is where then we got Lyra Valkyria goes for what they call a tornado fisherwoman suplex, I should say, given that they're females. But that like I like I excuse me, assassinators. But I never seen no woman or any wrestler in that matter did a tornado fisherwoman suplex, which is very original and creative for the Valkyrie. But it's where she tried to go for a pin on the role model. But Bailey was not taking 3 for an answer. She could take any counts like in the playbook, which she kicks out at 2.1. But this is where fans are chanting, "This is awesome," and this is where I give this one the golden trophy of the night. Yeah, the golden. I was thinking about silver, but this is golden right here. This looked like this was the main event match, which I was like, if it wasn't for the segment that was on later on, I would say this should have main evented the match. But this is where Bailey nearly took a page out of probably the more reigning defending the men's intercontinental champion, which he's unfortunately not here. But I did heard that he did lose his world championship over at the competitions company. Well, their second company that they own. Like he lost it to some luchador. I forget his name. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But this was start hitting the lion tamer right onto what's his name to Lyra Valkyria, which looks similar to a certain more reigning defending intercontinental champion wrestler in the men's division, of course, like that ever held. And this is where Lyra Valkyria is like, no, you give me every single maneuver that a former Intercontinental champion in the men's division could do. I'm not tapping out. This is where she starts screaming. When Bailey starts sitting down on her, this is where the Lyra Valkyria is like, no, this is where just somehow she flip her out underneath. But this is where Bailey's like, you know what? No, it's on no use. She's not gonna tap. Even if she does even if she does does not escape very easily, this is what she changed into the rose plant, but only for Lyra Valkyria to turn around, hits what they call a rolling flip into a pin, like to put her legs up for the 1, 2, 3, win her others match, and steal the women's intercontinental champion Lyra Valkyria. And this is where we saw Bailey was kind of upset at the time. I'm like, don't tell me they're turning her heel. Like, even though it probably won't matter, but at the same time, she's been a babyface for only a year, and in comparison to when the last time she was a heel, she's only been for like a good 5 years. But oh, tell your cousin I said happy birthday to him when even though it's a bit early, but tell him I said happy early birthday. But anyways, and hopefully that this SNA podcast will make his day, which something tells me it will. But it's where we got Lyra Valkyria try to show some good sportswomanship. Like when she tried to give a handshake to Bailey after celebrating, she retained her women's intercontinental championship. This is where Bailey shoved her hand off, like if she was a heel or like a baby face that's on a turn heel, like being a sore loser. Some of the fans were booing. This is where Bailey was like, "Oh, who am I kidding?" This is where she gave a big a high praising hug to the reigning defending women's intercontinental champion. It's what she was like yo, who am I kidding? Like, like you deserve it. Like, I'm gonna let my emotions get the better of me or you. And this is where then she did that, like showed some good womanship, like good women's sportswomanship, like right back at the WIC champion. But it's where we got the actor from the Machine movie and his own series on Netflix, Mr. What was his name? Bert what was his name? Backstage interview. Kathy Kelly did a backstage interview with Bert Schreiser, that's what his name is. Yeah, Bert Schreiser, that's what he's called. But it's where then Bert Schreiser was about to explain anything about what's it called about his new series on Netflix, but he immediately gets interrupted by a fellow with a Minneapolis native, and that was none other than Mr. Chad Gable. And excuse me for a moment. Yeah, yeah, I hope you tell. Oh, okay. Excuse me for a moment, assassinators. I'm gonna put. Okay, after this. Anyways, this is where we got Chad Gable came in with his American-made teammate. He was taking like he's like that's the only like this has to be the reason why he came to Minnesota is because of me and nobody else. And I was like, man, like I did not know this guy, the Machine, is a wrestling fan. Like, yeah, like even though like even though he kind of do look like a professional wrestler himself, like and he kind of looked like a more heavy set version of that guy, that world champion over at the competition that's being now mind controlled from his own hometown. Like, yeah, with that toxic water. And he just retained it about last night with the same guy, that Lion Tamer guy that held the Intercontinental Championship 9 times. But yeah, he kind of reminds me of him. But this is where we got Chad Gable's. He was like, yeah, this is the shining star that actually came out from the city, this garbage town. This is where he's but he's like, but unfortunately, I'm not gonna be competing in the match. And this is where he's like, but however, my boys, like the Creeds are like, and they're gonna be teaming with Great Americano when he gets team with them, like against the LW those horrible luchadors, the LWO, which they're nowhere in the level of my of the newcomer of the greatest luchador of all time, which is and it's weird. I was like, like I wonder like if this is actually Chad Gable or just somebody that just like, but it's where then but that's where I believe what's the name Bert didn't say like, okay, like wish y'all best of luck. But this is where then we got Chad. I mean, this is where we got a shout out of Bert, like of a wrestler, and it was Otis that ripped off. And this is where they ripped off when Otis ripped off his shirt. This is where we got Bert then did the same thing, like, yeah. And then I was like I never thought he would actually do that in the WWE show. And this is where they did a fist bump me 2 times, then a big old hug. Like, yeah, which I was like, I wouldn't be surprised if one day if they do become a tag team. And then what would they be called? I'm not sure what it's called. I guess you could say the O Bellies or the Burton O or Burton Otis. I don't know. Like, yeah, it sounds too generic, but something that's yeah, that fits their description. But anyways, yeah. But this is where we got some advertisements on NXT. This is where we move on to the next slide. And I want to ask you this question before I get into the 6-man tag match. Like, do you want to see Bert Schreiser? I believe that's what his name is. Yeah, Bert Schreiser. Like, which I know from the Machine movie because I remember even watching it in theaters like about a couple years ago, like a couple months before I started doing my podcast. It was a really good movie. I watched it with the family. It was very funny. Like, and very interesting with the action pack sequence. But maybe I could talk about it like yeah, like sometime one day, like on my other channel at SNA Entertainment. But yeah, but hopefully they make a sequel so I can be talking about that on the news. But anyways, let's get to the next slide. Let's which this tag 6-man tag match probably earns the I'll say the silver trophy of the night, I guess you could say. Yeah. But it's where we got before we got the six-man tag match. I also want to say that AJ Styles was in a backstage interview with Jackie Redmond. This is what she'll ask about Logan Paul's match. It's like, what's his head at? This is what AJ Styles like. I'm in a good place right now, despite the YouTube. I'm too to embarrass that obnoxious YouTuber like Logan Paul, like once and for all, in the grand stage of them all. And then this is where then he's like, because you cannot be excellence and experience. And then this is where then Karrion Kross shouted out like right from like probably down the hall saying, experience. And then I was like, I'm so confused. He said experience or experience? Like if he said experience, he must be some sort of a John Cena fan. Well, at least at this time, given that like him challenging Cody Rhodes for the title and him being on the role that Kross is in, which is we all know is an insider term, but which I'm not sure if I should mention it right now. It's kind of irrelevant. But anyways, this is where we got Karrion Kross asked like what like explain the situation about you and look. This is what AJ Styles like. What do you want to? What do you want from me? And what do you want to exactly hear from me, Karrion? Like what you're even doing here in the first? Here's Karrion Kross like, listen here, AJ. Like, we need the AJ Styles who's gonna get the job done, guaranteed. This is AJ Styles. Like, what AJ Styles talking about? Like, what are you talking about? What's this obsession that you even want about AJ Styles? This one Karrion Kross like, and that's because I don't want you to lose at WrestleMania. If you lose, then I lose. I'm like, Karrion Kross, like, are you hearing yourself right now? Because, like, what does you got to do with anything with AJ Styles? Or yeah, like y'all never been associated in anywhere in wrestling before until now. Y'all joined WWE. This is what AJ Styles like. You like this is what AJ Styles like. You want the real AJ Styles carrying? Like whoop! I'll give you the that type of AJ Styles if you're looking for him. And this was like, as a matter of fact, I'm gonna talk to Mr. Adam Pearce right now. And this is where he challenged him in the match next week, which it was eventually was announced on the later on in the night's on the night's broadcast of Raw. This is where we went to the now back to the ring with the LWO waiting for American Made and El Grande Americano. Like, yeah. And I'll say, what if it's Chad Gable or not? I'll say this great Americano gimmick is, I'll say, somewhat genius. Like, it's something that's unusual, even if it's a bit too like a generic. It's kind of like too much of a generic luchador version of Chad Gable, which it kind of reminds me of a very particular amateur like wrestler, like amateur like wrestler that was like imitating the luchador on SmackDown vs. Raw 2011, like on the road to WrestleMania with Rey Mysterio. Like, but this is where we got Dragon Lee to start the match off with Brutus Creed saying like I don't want you you big goofy ass doofus. I want the man that disrespect me in the culture of lucha libre. And this is where this is where this is where El Grano Americano was saying like, no, like I don't want, like I'm not getting in the ring. This is where then what's the name? Bruce Creed. Like, oh, you really want him? This is where it's like that's too bad. Like he seemed like he's not available. So you got like it's either me or like it's either like you are gonna do this match or you're not gonna wrestle at all. This is where Dragon Lee's like, okay, like fine, I won't. And this is where then he's like, I'm just gonna set it out until Great Americano finally decided to bring his cowardly ass in the ring. This is where then he tags in his partner Cruz del Toro. This is where then this is where it was Cruz del Toro and Brutus Creed are going for the fight. This is where we got Brutus Creed are going for a wrestler. And this is where we got Joaquin Wild to go for like a sliced bread maneuver, but he ends up settling for a snap flip of a snapmare until Brutus Creed went to the right side, gets ducked by Cruz del Toro. Once he gets in the left side, he hits a big old devastating shoulder tackle onto the what they call not Legado, the former Legado del Fantasma, now LWO member. This is where we got Cruz del Toro tags in Joaquin Wild to do a back elbow to Brutus Creed. This is where we got Cruz del Toro flips up Joaquin Wild into the bottom corner slide, hit the moonsault with something that you would probably never seen with a normal wrestler before. This is where we got what's his name? Joaquin Wild turned to Humberto Carrillo because he started hitting this hang gliding flying head scissor maneuver, just flying up onto the head of Julius Creed. This is where he goes for like like some kind of a head scissor flip, like and try to go for armbar. This is where we got American Made try to come in and help out Julius Creed, only for the rest of what's it called of the LWOs, Dragon Lee and Joaquin Wild, then or Cruz del Toro, then get catching them. This is where they start Irish whipping all the members of the American Made. And this is where they all start taking turns, like going for splash, like right on to the heels, and then drop kicks until they went to the outside. Then we got and this word we got yeah, my bad. I don't know, like for some reason when I say a bad word, it just sounds very funny. Like the way I put my own spin onto it. I guess that's why I like to do. Even when I don't really cuss, but I do. Like when I say like the S word, I'd say sugar honey iced tea sometimes, like when it's not really necessary to say the word. But anyways, yeah, this is where we got the LWO to hit their respective cannonball dives right onto the heels of American Made. This is where then we got what's his name? Dragon Lee and what's the name? Joaquin Wild Cruz del Toro got me. This is where then they hit their this is where they hit their biggest superplexes. Like yeah, this is where we got the they thought they hit like a Tower of Doom where it's a superplex, which I believe was what was it? The Creed brothers? Yeah, the Creed brothers did to the to Joaquin Wild Cruz del Toro at the same time. Both men fell down at the same. All the men were down at the same time at the time, and this is where we got the partial powerful force, and all the pro wrestling came on, which was the commercial break. But once it got done with the streaming adverts, this is where then I believe where the LWO was on top, or was it something like that? Like, yeah, they were just getting on top, which it was Dragon Lee that got the better of Julius Creed. This is where we got and what else? Orange glasses. I'm so but anyway, this is where we got this is where we got Cruz del Toro was in a comeback move, like which he was hitting all kinds of moves onto all the members of the American Made and Hurricane Runs after Hurricane Runs. This is where he spotted Brutus Creed, like when he was in the upper right corner slot, hits a flying clothesline and Enzuigiri. Then he tried to go for like this twisting neck breaker maneuver, like if he's a certain natural face painting wearing Nightmare Brother guy, like, and this is where then he took off his shirt. This is where he was about to fly, which I assume was about to be hitting his finisher, but you did a pose, then try to hit it like a swanton maneuver, but that's not the only thing he did. He had a suicide dive right to my left side, right into Brutus Creed out of nowhere. This is where we got Chad Gable. Then, I'm not Chad Gable. Great. What's the name? El Grande Americano then came in. This is where we got Chad Gable. What's that? Uh, El Grande Americano then tried to go for German suplex. But when that didn't work on Cruz del Toro, he tried to go for a wheelbarrow roll up. That did not end up working either at 2.6 to be exact. That's what Cruz del Toro kicked out. This is where he got into the corner by tagging in Dragon Lee. This is where he got him into a powerbomb position while Cruz del Toro hits a what they call like this kind of Spanish fly like maneuver, like go like a twister corkscrew maneuver, which even impressed Rey Mysterio. But this is where we got Dragon Lee. Like, I'm not quite done with you yet, Americano, if that's your real name, because you ripped off my mask a week ago. And then like, and last time I checked, like in Lucha Libre culture, like that's a sign of disrespect. And now it's time to disrespect you. And this is where then he hits a running knee onto Great Americano right after he said that. This is where then we got this is where we got Dragon Legion try to go for a power bomb, hits it like we're doing a sit out. This is where we got what's his name? Julius Creed and then a shooting star press. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Hopefully it gets better for you. But this is where we got and then we got Julius Creed going to the left corner side onto the ropes. This is where we got what's his name? What was it? Joaquin Wild. Yeah, this is where he goes for a double foot stomp on the back of both Cruz del Toro and Julius Creed, and then hits a dive onto Brutus. This is where we got Cruz del Toro managed to also clothesline what's his name? Julius Creed. Right after that happened, is where he goes for a springboard flip into a diving corkscrew onto the former NXT Tag Team Champion. This is where we got this is where we got Chad. Well, I'm not saying this if I'm purposely saying this, but it's all a mistake. El Grande Americano then asked Ivy now to grab on something. It was some kind of a small metal plate for some reason. But Rey Mysterio saw it like when the referee didn't see it. This is where he pointed out to the referee. He asked him, like, and to prove it, like it's still in his. This where it's like, now give it to me, which maybe he shouldn't have. Maybe he shouldn't go for that. Maybe he should have asked the referee to do it because like it would have been very risky for him to try to take that off of the El Grande Americano's mask. This is where he ends up headbutting the master of the 619, knocking him out. This is where then Dragon Lee tries to stop him, prevent him from doing anything. But this is where we got Dragon Lee trying to grab it up, but he ends up getting headbutt, like knocking him out cold. Chad Gable, this guy reminds me way too much of the 2012 Olympian. My bad. But anyways, it's where we got El Grande Americano. Then try to go for a diving headbutt onto Dragon Lee. 1, 2, 3. And yeah, and that rhymes. So that's absolutely true. And that's what exactly happened. And the winner of this match, El Grande Americano, and the Creed brothers of American Made. And I'll say this definitely gets the silver trophy of the night. They did a super fantastic job. If they're going to be having this new fictional luchador character, no matter who it is, whether if it's Chad Gable or not, they're doing a really good job making this guy, I'll say, somewhat like very interesting. Like he just knows, this guy just knows how to be seen and be entertaining the fans. I can see like if this is truly Chad Gable or is it somebody, because his move sets are very absolutely similar to the leader of American Made. And do you think that this is all just the ruse, like with Chad Gable pretending to be a luchador, or this is truly a luchador, but in kayfabe, of course, in WWE, means somebody else totally different, and Chad Gable's not clear to compete? Let me know down in the comment section right down below. Where do you think it's gonna lead to? Like, the only thing I would say I would hate to see is them like revealing it's Chad Gable now, like by ripping off the mask, if they're not gonna lead nothing into this El Grande Americano character. But that's where we got Pat McAfee also announces that he will indeed be doing a what's it called show, a what they call he's gonna be doing a what's that called, like a little Pat McAfee show like this Wednesday, which it will be not only on YouTube but also on his X and TikTok page, like in. And then soon after, they showed a vignette of what happened last week with Gunther versus Jimmy Uso, which the ring general defeated Jimbo like and squashed him like a bug, like in the process, and along with him beating him into a bloody pulp, which we're going to be hearing name of the Jay Usos. That's where they still like when Jay Uso got zip tied, and that's where they start. That's where they even muted out on what he was saying. It's like, you stop the sugar honey iced tea. Like, I'm gonna kill you, Gunt. And this where then because Gunther wouldn't stop beating up poor Jimbo, like yeah, into this big. And this where they showed like memories for Jay Uso, which he probably asked the production truck to show while showing this vignette like on what happened last week's episode of Raw when he started beating him up in poor his brother Jimbo, like we're showing them as kids, and then when they were very first tag team, and when they had the longest reigning WWE tag team champions in history, championship in history. This is where we got the face to face segment up next. Is where it was Gunther and what's his name? Main event Jay Uso. That was face to face with they show before the show the powerful force of all of professional wrestling. The commercial break came on. This is where we got like them heading out to the ring. Excuse me for a moment. But yeah, that's where we got some kind of odd continuity era, like when we saw Jackie Redmond was like on like in on a in an arena with an interview on top on right above the audience, like doing a little booth interview with what's the name with Liv Morgan. This is where he cut off and started showing Triple H like and his teammates like the D Generation X, especially his longtime best friend, the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, because Triple H is going to be inducted to the Hall of Fame. That's what they've been doing for the last few weeks of showing some memories from the last 30 years of Triple H, because it's been exactly 30 years since Triple H been in WWE, which that's crazy. It's like The Undertaker when he wrestled for like a good 30 years since 90 to 2020. But yeah, this is where they started showing the funny and the most entertaining moments, like from the 90s, the 2000s, the 2000, even the 2000 teens. But yeah, this is where they showed like Triple H will be inducted into the Hall of Fame along with Michelle McCool, Lex Luger, their Natural Disaster Tag Team, and the Immortal Award for the best WrestleMania match of overall, like which was the Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Bret Hart match at WrestleMania 13, which this is an adopting an award that they got from UFC, which they had the Immortal Award, something similar to like it. Well, I'm not sure if it's exactly the same, but yeah, this is where we got Gunther then came out. This is where then he looked like he was about to brag about like what he did to Jay's brother Jimbo. Like, and we probably won't be seeing him for a little while, like because of it. But this is where Gunther then grabbed onto his World Heavyweight Championship belt. This is where he started like arrogantly start waving it all around to the fans while standing on top of on the announce table, like with where the commentators Pat McAfee and Michael Cole was just sitting there. This is where Gunther got past the microphone, probably by the cameraman, and this is where the Gunther then went right up into the microphone. This is where then before he can even say much, like with him holding on to his World Heavyweight Championship because he is the champion. Like, yeah, and I'll say, and despite him being like looking very strong, like he just don't really have a memorable moment other than this right here, which I'll say this will probably be the best thing about his reign is World Heavyweight. And I don't think he ever said anything on his promo. I just think he just allowed just Jay, who just felt probably in the spirit like that Jay Uso was about to come out, which he ended up coming out anyways. It's where the main event Jay Uso was like, I'm so done. Yeah, hoping not too busy. But anyway, this is where we got main event Jay Uso then came out to start doing the yeet waves. Like, like when we came out in the audience. Well, I'm not sure if he did the yeet waves, like because he was more serious. Like normally, if he was in a good mood, he would do the yeet wave. This is where then he was more. That's where then he was serious. This is where Gunther was like, "Oh right, yeah, yeah, like you're more serious face. That's the Jey Uso I'm talking about, with him smiling with a huge grin, like if he was the devil himself. But yeah, this is where then Michael Cole pointed out why is Gunther wearing a red tie? Because it's a reminder of the blood that was on his hands that came from Jimbo that he beaten him into a pulp. But I was like, oh, I thought it was like because he was a much bigger SpongeBob fan. Because given that he's wearing a white dress shirt like SpongeBob would wear, along with a red tie, the only thing he's missing is brown pants. Rather than like, but he rather just want to wear black because I think that's one of his favorite colors, rather than brown. So that's understandable. He's a SpongeBob fan, but not. But at the same time, he's more of black pants, like a professional would like, rather than brown pants, like than somebody that's more colorful would like to wear. But anyways, this is where like yeah, the number one person that wasn't ready, wasn't in the mood for colors is main event Jey Uso. Otherwise, we seeing him wearing some red or blue or orange, like with a very cool yeet lighting into it. But yeah, this is where then we got Jey Uso that ends up going talking on the microphone. This is where then Gunther, oh no, this is where then he pretty much Gunther had it, like where the fans started chanting Yeet and Jey Uso, like, and this is where then Gunther just crack up like, well, like you got something to say, or we're just gonna have to be standing there for the rest of the remaining night. This is where then Jey Uso, uh, they're not going to be in the hurt of what do you want to say because it's very emotional. Because Gunther crossed the line by putting his family members involved into their rivalry, and then this is where then yeah we got Jay Uso. Then start off with yeah, you have a mother, yeah, you have a mother, you have a father. Do you have a mom? This is where they start asking most specifically, like about having as a parent. I'm like, if it's not like if this wasn't like this is out of context, I'm like asking what do you mean by asking this question? What does his own mother what does Gunther's own mother has to do with this angle that y'all in? But this where then he made some, but he did make sense when he said like I've been talking to my mother and then I lied to her because I told her that I'm not afraid, but guess what? Like I'm a be honest and tell the truth, and that is I am afraid of you, Gunther. And then this where then he what else he said he added onto the promo. He's and she said in response like. This where this where he said and this is what his own mother said how come you didn't protect your own brother Jonathan Joshua, which that's the real names of Jimmy and Jay Uso. Which Jimmy and Jay it's sort of their nicknames of Jonathan and Joshua. This is where then Jay Uso had a joke, and this is where it's like. And this is where then Jay Uso said yeah, I'm a grown man, I'm gonna lie to my own mother, I'm you know what? He's I finally told her that I'm afraid. Like I said, I was afraid of you. That's my reason why I didn't protect my brother. Well, I was like, really? Like I thought it was like you were zip tied. You were trying to get to Gunther and try to help your brother, but he tied you up like if the zip ties were some arts and craft version of handcuffs, I guess you could say. But it's where we got Jay Uso's like, yeah, you had me down, Uso. Like you put the drop on me. Like you were 3 steps ahead of me. Like you playing chess and I'm playing checkers right now. Like Gunt, like you have me. And he's but it wasn't enough for you. You had my whole family involved. My family would love to get involved. Like if anything, if I'm in some sort of a pickle, especially my own twin brother Jimbo. And then this is where then he continued on the promo saying, what else he said on the promo? And he said, you decide to beat him up, into to a very blood, in front of the world, and the light bulb went off on me, Oos. You know what that, ain't that something, Gunt? Ain't it? And you know why I realized after it went off? And you know what I want to realize? Are you ready for this? This is where Gunther's I'm not sure if I want to know. This is where he started looking away. This is where Jey Uso they told him to look at him directly in the eyes when he say it. Ever since you did that, that showed me some courage, which I think that was probably a good what they call it, development by showing Jey Uso was doubting himself and he was afraid of Gunther at first, not until Gunther came in and it got his family involved, especially his own brother, and beat him up for no reason into a lifeless body, I should say, and excuse me, and that's what light up a fire underneath main event Jey Uso, and then that's probably gonna give him the confidence of beating Gunther, which I like to see how they're doing this. It's gonna turn to a blessing in disguise. What happened to Jimmy's gonna be paid back double time. You're gonna be double for the troubles. Basically, that's what the storyline is leading into. Which hopefully that is the case though. How WWE's leading this into WrestleMania, making us care about this. Well, I'm not sure if I can speak for anybody else, but I know that I'm starting to get invested into this World Heavyweight Championship feud at WrestleMania 41. For WrestleMania, yeah. Which I was if it wasn't for CM Punk versus Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins, I would say this should have main event night 1 at least. At this situation, but I think it's gonna be the opener of night 1. Since I heard it's gonna be at night 1, so it should be the opener while Punk and Rollins and Reigns should be main event. But here's where Jey Uso then continues saying Gunt. And before our match at the Showcase of the Immortals, you can kiss your family goodbye. And what you're gonna say to your family, Like, and before WrestleMania, do you have anything to say? Like, or the night before, just like last year when my honorary Oos brother Sami Zayn beat you when you were that other championship that you did a record breaking. And to be honest, like that belt, that championship reign was a lot more better. Like when it comes to the matches, the quality, and the reign, like of you holding on to that title for over 2 years. But yeah, this is where it's like I lay my head down, Oos, and this is like, and I'm gonna say a prayer, and I'm gonna pray about you, Gun, and then also for me as well. And this is where then Jason, now I'm gonna ask the Lord Himself, like, to forgive me for the man who I'm about to become. Like when we get into this, get into the square circle of the biggest event of the year. He's like, because at WrestleMania, like, right, that raised his voice, he's like, I'm gonna get you, I'm gonna get you for me, I'm gonna get you for what you did to Jimmy. He's like, I'm gonna do what I did to the whole man family, and I'm gonna take the World Heavyweight Championship. And I was like, hopefully that will happen because yeah, like I said, like, what will be the point if he's not gonna actually win? Like with him, like with Gunther trying to taunt him and trying to show him that he's at least 3 steps ahead of him, which I'll say that could be true, like at least at this time period. But when it comes to the match, like what's going to be the outcome, even though like he have 3-0 against him, like more than like almost as much as Shaw Flair's divorces. Hopefully that doesn't sound like an insult. Like I'm just yeah, but yeah, I'm saying that because like Tiffany Stratton, like Tiffany Stratton said 3-0, like which I'm not nothing against Shaw Flair, just saying like it. I'll say like it may be 3-0 for now, but that doesn't mean that things could change. I could say the same like with Charlotte Flair's life, which I'm not making fun of anything. I'm just saying, like, just for comparisons of things, like you don't doubt anything, anything's possible. Like if you just believe enough, that now my point is that you can there's gonna be a first. There's always a first time at everything, and this could be the first. It could be one of those things. Yeah, I should say. But let's where Jey Uso just basically just cooked Gunther, which I think this was probably the smart move. I thought he would probably go like his cousin, like when he was the big dog at the time, when he let Triple H had it, like when he sent him out of action for months or weeks, I should say, weeks, like when he was the world champion at the time, like almost a decade ago. I thought he was gonna pretty much do that to Gunther right here, but I guess like he should save all that fight, like when they're at WrestleMania, something similar like Cody Rhodes with John Cena, like when John Cena beat him into a bloody pulp, like when he turned heel on him. But this is where then we got they showed the vignette from 3 nights ago, which was Roman Reigns asking Paul Heyman, is he still wanting that favor from Paul Heyman? Is he even talking about him? This is where then this is where then and this is where the Seth Rollins came in. This is where he started poking fun at him until CM Punk came out, and then this is where then he finally told Roman Reigns what the favor was, which had Paul Heyman on the side. And I think it's more than just that, but I'll say I guess you're kind of right about right about CM Punk wanting him to be a wise man. But this is where they showed like what happened a decade ago, what Paul Heyman said to him, like along with him, like from even decades before then, or like probably or half a decade, I should say, like at this time, like was a dozen years ago, like when he had this little talk. This is where it was like the summer of 2013 when the last time they were allies, like when Paul Heyman was his what's it called? Oh, I'm gonna talk about Seth Rollins later on. Yeah, let's say he was on the show tonight, and let's just say he was, much. He was in a brutal situation, I guess you could say, closing the show. But anyways, we're gonna get into that. But this is where when CM Punk, pointing out like saying like he's gonna show the world like that he's the WrestleMania main eventer. Like, well, like those guys aren't here anymore, which is a reference to the old regime and the management with a couple of names in particular, which one of them, like Cody Rhodes said, we're not allowed to talk about him anymore. Let's just say his initials are VKM. him. That's the only thing I'm gonna talk about. But it's where Roman Reigns is like, huh? Like that was the favor, which they show like Roman Reigns. They like yeah, like tell Paul Heyman, tell this fool to say no to this fool. This is where Paul Heyman rejected him, which is the first time ever that we ever saw Paul Heyman like rejecting anything from Roman Reigns. This is where he's like, no, my tribal chief, I cannot do that. But yeah. But yeah, this is where Neely got him mugged by his own tribal chief. Like after he denies like him saying no, but yeah, but let me know in the comment section right down below. Okay, I'll gladly will. Yeah, it'll show you Assassinator. But anyways, it's where we got the New Day that came out because we do have the World Tag Team Champions on the line, which I thought they were gonna have this at WrestleMania like directly, but I don't think that was gonna be yet the case. But let's just say it was just like something like a. It still it was a cliffhanger that still have us like very interested interesting into the matter, but we're gonna but let's get started to the match, which I'll say this match probably deserves the blue ribbon award of the night. Like which I'll say for the fact that it was a very intriguing tag team match. Like yeah, like it was like very intriguing. It told the story and it probably have some type of stipulation like when the next time these guys fight again, like which will likely be at WrestleMania. But But this really showed a pretty funny what's it called latest episode of Stephanie McMahon's talk show, which she was interviewing Rhea Ripley, and when she was put on the exact same makeup as the Eradicator was had always have on, she looked like she could be a perfect pair for Rhea Ripley of being like a fake family member on a probably future movie or show down the road. Like if Rhea Ripley was into something like a movie or something like that, whether if it's fictional or based on a true story or whatnot. But this is where we got Rey Mysterio. Then went directly to Adam Pearce's office. This is where he asked him, "I want a match against El Americano or Chad Gable." This is where he's like, whoever the hell it is. This is where he said what he's doing right now. He's claiming he's doing some lucha traditions. Like, well, he don't even know anything about lucha libre 101. Like, and he's being a complete disgrace like to this culture of a style of wrestling. And then this is where he's like, and I want a match against him next week. And this is where then Adam Pearce like, okay, we'll do like expect that to be the next 7 days, and assume that it's El Ficio, yeah. Which I believe, yeah, it don't take a genius to know like that he's saying that's official in Spanish. But this is where they showed the hotel that you could stay at, like for WrestleMania 41. This is where they showed the host of that little roasting comedy show, which was Tony Hitchcliffe, which you already know. I already talked about him on my podcast before. But it's where that Tony Hitchcliffe was here, was just cracking jokes all the whole night long. But that's where then he said, but seriously, like I'm happy to be here on Monday Night Raw, and he thanked the commentators for letting them join the commentary team, like the call to action of the tag team match between the New Day, which he would not stop, roasting and crowing on the New Day. Like you said, which he even said, which Pat McAfee wouldn't stop dying with laughter, like, but yeah. But yeah, this is where he even said like these are the two weakest links in the New Day's faction. Like they used to be more stronger, but that's when they had Big E. But it was unfortunately that he got injured, and it even got worse than with Kofi and Xavier Woods just disowned poor Big E, the former world champion, like right into the dust. But anyways, yeah, this is where we got. This is where we do get the. Anyway, we do get the matches where we got what is his name? Kofi Kingston go for a slide duck right out when Ivar was heading his way when they were starting the match. This is where he goes for a back leapfrog, but this is where he ends up getting shoulder tackled by the one half of the War Raiders. This is where he hits another one. This is where This is where Kofi Kingston tried to roll out of the ring. Like this is where Xavier Woods had him, bro. So he will boss the roll. This is where Xavier Woods, like being a good friend for like out of the blue, just was being concerned about Kofi Kingston, which I mean, as he should, but yeah, it just don't make any sense. Like it seems like he's not a well caring person. This is where then when Kofi then tags himself in the match, like tags himself out of the match and tags Xavier Woods back in the match, which Eric was waiting for him to fight. This is where he tried to roll out of the ring. This is where he told the cameraman to get out of the way, like if he's Shawn Michaels back in 1997. That's where then Xavier Woods then ends up going for a tackle right onto Ivar, starts stomping on his back like, and this where then Xavier Woods wouldn't stop. This is where the referee's like, stop it, or else you will get DQ'd and you lose, and you won't be tag team champion regardless. This is where then we got Xavier Woods got offended. That would probably say like, you don't threaten me. This is where then he just started hitting some strikes right onto what's his name, Eric, which that was probably a blessing for the New Day. That's where they did tags in Kofi Kingston, where they start acting like they're themselves back in their 2015, 2016 days when they used to call it the unicorn stomp, which Michael Cole even pointed out, like which he said, like, I don't know what they call it these days, but this is where we got Xavier Woods nearly trying to throw Kofi, trying to do his drop kick, like where Xavier Woods plays trombone. They're like which he don't do no more because they're trying to be more in the serious path and have a serious edge. And no, they're not talking about that guy that went to that competition that used to have been a wrestler here in WWE. But you get the point. But anyway, this is where we got a double clothesline by Eric, like trying to be like if he's being his version of Umaga. This is where he tags in Ivar. This is where then he hits a sidewalk slam, like with his face flattened right onto the ground. Go to the right corner side, hits a crossbody right onto what's that, Kofi Kingston when he was in the snapmare position. He goes for a fist bump tag right onto Eric. He dips him right to the bottom left side, goes for a springboard flip. He dodges out of the way. This is where we got Eric then hits a body slam onto Kofi Kingston. Go a fist bump tag back in the ring. Then we got Eric then go for a body slam onto Xavier Woods and Ivar. The Kofi. This is where we got this is where we got Ivar and tells Eric to say, like, yeah, let's go, like war. And this is where he hits him. This is where Eric picks up Ivar, which he probably weighs like probably a quarter more than what Eric does. He slams him. Like, how did he do that way when he slammed him right onto what's his name, Kofi Kingston? Is where we got Eric throws Kofi, or no, it was Xavier Woods right off the top, right after they took care of Kofi. This is where we got like. This is where you try to grab on the Xavier Woods before he can make a near exit. This is where Xavier Woods try to grab onto a steel chair. This is where Michael Cole try to talk some sense into what's his name? Talk some sense into what's his name onto Xavier Woods. Like if you use that, like then it's gonna be a guaranteed loss because like not only you're gonna lose the match, but you're gonna also lose your chance of winning the tag team championships. But this is where we got Ivar then go throwing Kofi right to the bottom left side, right into the barricade. This is where we got Ivar then ends up going for a cross body right onto the Xavier Woods, right onto what's the name? Xavier Woods. Is where we even got a hilarious line, which I probably give it a golden trophy of the night, which Michael Cole said, like, you forgot your line like earlier. And this is where Pat McAfee's like, oh shoot, like you're right, like Raw is war before they went to the commercial break, which is the powerful force in all of pro wrestling. This is where he's like, yeah, like well, he said but this is where he's like, war is war. Like he's like the fear of the Raiders or something like that to the War Raiders. Then once we got done with the adverts, like once they got that's where we got the War Raiders still was on top. Like, and yeah, they must be fan favorites by the powerful force because they are dangerous forces themselves. This is where we got a knee to the gut, like, and to a slam. This is where we got, this is where tags in Ivar. This is where they hit their former finishing maneuver, the Viking experience. This is where they hit their new finishers, where they pop up Kofi Kingston right onto Eric's arms. This is where they That's where they hit the War Machine, I believe that's what they call it. But once they try to go for the pin, that's where they got stopped by Xavier Woods. They would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for the instigating troublemaker. But that's where we got That is where Eric was distracted by, or the referee was distracted by Eric. This is where it looked like this looked like this looked like Xavier Woods got an easy shot, like trying to attack him with the chair. This is where Ivar tried to snatch it away from him. This is where he took it away. This is where Ivar whacked it right into his ribs, and that did a DQ finish. Like, which the referee's like, you're not supposed to do that. Like, it's an automatic disqualification. This is where this is where the referee's decision was final, because he obviously whacked Xavier Woods with the chair, which it gave a disqualification. And despite the New Day winning by disqualification, guess who's still the world tag team champions, which we all know is the War Raiders, because the championship advantage. I'll say most of the times that's usually the case, unless there's some kind of a special stipulation, like even if you lose by count out or disqualification, you're still going to lose the championships, which I don't think they're going to do that kind of stipulation at WrestleMania, given that they're not heels, like into the rivalry. I would say they're going to probably turn this into like some kind of a tornado tag team, no disqualification kind of stipulated match. I would believe that's what's going to happen. But what are your thoughts onto this mishap? Let me know down in the comments. Do you think this is going to be a lead up into what's to come on the road to WrestleMania, or do you think it's? I don't think the new thing is gonna be just a rematch and there's nothing gonna follow up. If that's gonna be the case, that wouldn't even make any sense. Hopefully that they do have something to follow into this, like by announcing this, like at like next week's Raw, which will be WrestleMania Raw. By the way, this is where we got. That's where we got Xavier Woods and Kofi then threw Eric into the wedge chair. Threw Eric into the wedge chair in the bottom right side that Kofi set up, hit him in the face first after they did a full complete beatdown. This is where they threw Ivar right into the barricade in the right corner slide. That's where it is like, and that's two of them. And this is where the New Day said we're still gonna win our tag team championships. This is where then they grab onto some chairs and start trying to whack them, and still, but this is where they. But it's where then what they if they was to have an idea, this is where he plants what's the name Eric's head right into the chair, trying to decapitate his head off, like if it's the medieval days. Is where we got. This is where luckily the referees and this is where the referees and the security guards came in and stop it from even happening, like in the first place, like with them like taking both the New Day members out, like, get out of here because they're taking this too far. Like, it's one thing that they have some heat with these guys, but that don't excuse them for trying to basically murder one of the members of the team. But yeah, but what are your thoughts on this? And if there's a stipulation into a tag team championship rematch, which Xavier Woods told the referee, like, I already know that, like, but I don't care. Like, that's the reason why I'm doing it. And that's where that's where we got the commentator. All the commentators were like, yeah, like, go on, like, New Day, like, y'all lost, like, well, like, y'all may have won the battle, but you didn't win the war kind of situation, because the only time you won was by DQ rather than by pinfall, because otherwise y'all be tag team champions by now. But yeah, let me know down in the comment section right down below what's your opinions on what kind of a stipulated match it's going to be on the showcase event. But this is where we got they show when's the one dead man show of The Undertaker is going to be. It's going to be on night one's WrestleMania. It's going to be like hours before the show goes on, like, which you can be the first one